Stop it. You know, but I was just thinking to myself, it's funny, it's like you read my mind, because, not that about the great song part, but I just thought to myself, God, I'm so sad that this is it. You know? Tonight. Yeah, maybe I'll do another show. We're playing later at the Calgary Legion. This one's for Brad and Sarah, who can almost not get through the show. They're so upset about it being the last show. You guys are like the girls at summer camp the last day. They're like, oh my God. Brad, did you go to summer camp? No, I didn't go to summer camp either. And Tegan went, had a fucking fit, could barely get through 3 days of summer camp. My mom wouldn't let me go. People were like crying on the first day. They were like, oh my God, even before I've even known you, I'm already sad about saying bye. I was like, you weren't sentimental at all. No, I was like, you don't have friends at home? He's like, you know what, I have a family, okay? I miss them. Yeah. Not you. Yeah. I was so cynical as an 8-year-old. I also was dressed for camping. I didn't realize we were going to like a dance, a long dance, 3 days of dancing. That's what it was. A bunch of fucking really, really bitchy 8-year-olds who were all dressed up to go to a dance. I was like, remember how we were camping? So that's why I'm wearing sweatpants. Don't look at me like that. It's true, you were 8, we were about 10, but Tegan came home from camp and I would be like, it's like when someone gets an illness and you want to know every detail of it because you want to know how you can make it better and how you can stop it, you know? And Tegan came back from camp and she was so traumatized, and we would lay in bed and I would just ask her so many questions because I wanted to take away that experience for her because she was so traumatized, and I was like, and I thought if I asked her 1,000 questions about it I would figure out what the anecdote was. Meanwhile I was like, please stop talking about it, I'm not gonna get over it if you don't stop asking me about it. It's true, but the one thing I remember, I'd be like drifting off to sleep finally after like hours of crying in the fetal position, and Sarah would be like, but why didn't people like you? I don't understand. But didn't you talk funny? Didn't you tell them jokes? I don't understand why they didn't like you. And I'd be like, I don't know. But I really remember, it's so cute because we really truly were 10 years old. I mean, you really would say to me, you hammered this home. I remember she had the wrong clothes. She was dressed for camping and all the kids were just dressed for normal life. So Tegan had like red sweatpants and gumboots and all the other kids were hot and trying to get laid and like 10 years old. And Tegan, they would just be like, maybe we can dress her up as a janitor or a boy, I don't know. First day we arrived, all the popular girls had made friends on the bus. I was like a pariah, because I was bawling hysterically on the bus. And everyone was like, don't sit next to the weird girl that kind of looks like a boy. And then when we got to camp, they came over and they all were talking in a group. And then finally they voted someone to come over and talk to me. And they're like, hey, and I was like, and they were like, we were just talking and you kind of look like a boy, so we were wondering if you wanted to go into the boys' cabin and tell Sean that he's really cute. And I was like, oh, I don't. Actually, no. But instead I was just like, what you actually were was, I'm going to go to the main office and call my sister, who's at grandma's house and who's in clinical depression because she's been separated for the first time from her sister. And I know, or maybe humming, so if the lights were on, my mom would be going like, what? It's a great time. But no, I remember Tegan would call me and she would just sob hysterically into the phone, and I would just be like, the camp was 3 days. It was 3 days. Longest 72 hours of our fucking lives. Anyway, Tegan always tells the story. It always ends with this great part that I don't even know if it's true anymore, but it's such a great ender. But my mom apparently bribed her and told her she'd give her a present, and it was a couple pencils and a bag of chips. Yeah, seriously. She told me, she said, I'll be there at the bus depot to pick you up, and I'm going to give you a present. Don't make me drive all the way out there. I will, but I think you can handle spending 3 days out there. And I was like, fine. And I was just like, all day, all night, I would just be like, I'm going to get a present, 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 I'm going to get a present. And then I got there, my mom showed up at the bus depot, handed me a little bag of regular potato chips, a pencil, and then sent me off to my dad's. And I was just like, left alone with psycho, analyzer
like police investigator being like, why didn't people like you? Why weren't you popular? Why did you cry the whole time? Didn't you make friends? How come you didn't have fun? And I just was like, holy fuck, I'm never going to camp again. And in a weird way, this is kind of what this song is about, because all my trauma came from that separation.